All right, so today let's dive into some seriously thought-provoking material.
Okay.
You guys have requested a deep dive into the new Apostolic Church's motto for 2025
Right.
in the Western Pacific District.
Yeah.
It's time to do good.
Yes.
We've got the Chief Apostles address, some articles, even visual elements like that logo with everyone engrossed in the Bible.
Yeah, and what's intriguing to me is how they're positioning good. It's not just about being nice.
Right.
It's explicitly tied to God's will.
Yeah.
Almost like a measuring stick for our actions.
That makes me think about how often we just DO things, but are we stopping to consider if it's actually good in that deeper sense?
Exactly.
Yeah.
And the chief apostle really drives that home, that this goodness isn't just external.
Yeah.
It's about our own internal state too. Doing good for ourselves so we can then do good for others.
Right.
That connection is what really stands out to me.
So no bubble baths and calling it doing good for my soul, huh? I have to admit, I struggle with that part.
Okay.
What does doing good for ourselves actually look like?
Think of it less like pampering and more like training.
Okay.
An athlete doesn't just show up for the big game.
Right.
They practice. They build strength.
Right.
Spiritually, it's similar.
Okay.
Nurturing our connection with God, understanding His will.
Yeah.
That's the groundwork for any lasting positive impact we can have on others.
Okay, that analogy really helps. It's like we need that inner strength, that spiritual fitness,
Right?
before we can go out and win in terms of helping others, spreading that goodness.
Precisely. And the sources outline practical steps for this training.
Okay.
Time spent in God's Word.
Right.
Not just reading, but reflecting. Letting it guide our decisions.
Right.
It's an active pursuit, not passive.
I'm already seeing how this deep dive is going to make me rethink my routine.
Yeah.
Okay, so we're working on ourselves.
Right.
But how does that then translate to doing good for others, especially in the context of the new Apostolic Church?
Well, the chief apostle starts close to home,
Okay.
family congregation. He talks about the immense responsibility A&D also challenged
Right.
of raising children with strong faith in today's world.
Oh, yeah.
Passing on that love for Jesus, the value of the church, that's huge EE.
Yeah, no kidding. My niece can quote TikTok trends better than Bible verses sometimes.
Wow.
But I see what you mean, that generational impact is so powerful.
Yeah.
But doing good doesn't stop there, right?
Absolutely not.
Yeah.
It expands outwards to our communities, the world.
Okay.
And here's where that golden rule gets interesting.
Yeah.
It's easy to say, treat others how you want to be treated.
Right.
But applying that in real life situations, that takes discernment.
That's so true, like online arguments. How do you apply the golden rule when someone's being deliberately provocative?
Right.
Or even with climate change, individual actions feel tiny against the problem.
And that's where the chief apostle's point about attentiveness comes in.
Oh, opportunities to do good are all around us.
Right.
But we need to be tuned in to recognize them.
Yeah.
And even more importantly, act on them.
So we're not just waiting for some giant flashing sign from God.
No.
It's more subtle everyday moments
Yeah.
where we make the choice to act or not.
Exactly. And here's where it gets even more complex.
Good.
The sources bring up this tension between spiritual needs and practical ones.
Right.
Can we truly care about someone's soul if we ignore their suffering here and now?
That really hit me hard because I think instinctively I do separate those. Like, I'll donate to a food bank,
Right.
but maybe not engage in a deeper conversation about faith.
Yeah.
But are those really separate?
That's the challenge posed, and honestly, there's no easy answer.
Yeah.
It makes you question your priorities, your actions.
Right.
Are we picking and choosing what good we do,
Yeah.
or is there a way to address both the seen and unseen needs around us?
This is already making me rethink how I approach, well, everything. And we're just getting started. It's like we're being asked to become more holistic in our approach to doing good.
Right.
Not just addressing symptoms,
Yeah.
but the root causes, both spiritual and physical needs intertwined.
That makes me wonder about the how.
Right.
Because a lot of us, we want to do good,
Yeah.
but it feels overwhelming. Where do you even start with all this?
Well, the sources don't give a step-by-step manual, thankfully.
Okay, good.
It's more about cultivating that sensitivity
Right.
to the needs around us, the way God might be nudging us to act.
So it's less about having the perfect plan and more about being open to those promptings, even if they seem small.
Exactly. And that ties back to the motto's emphasis on it's time. Not someday, not when it's convenient, but now being present, recognizing those moments where we can make a difference.
Yeah.
Whether it's offering a kind word or tackling a larger issue.
Okay, I'm starting to see the depths here.
Yeah.
Because we often put off doing good, don't we?
We do, yeah.
I'll volunteer when I have more time.
Or I'll donate when I get that raise.
Yeah.
But this motto challenges that procrastination.
It does. And the chief apostle connects this to a really powerful phrase.
Okay.
Redeeming the time.
Ooh.
It's not just about managing our schedules efficiently.
Right.
It's about recognizing the value of each moment.
Yeah.
Investing it in what truly aligns with God's purpose.
I have to admit, redeeming the time always sounded a bit intense to me.
Yeah.
But thinking about it in this context, it's not about stressing over every second. It's more about intentionality, isn't it?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
It's about recognizing that our time is a gift and using it wisely, asking ourselves, is this activity, this conversation, this choice moving me closer to God's will? Is it contributing to the good that this motto calls for?
Wow, that's a question I need to ask myself more often.
Yeah.
It's easy to get swept up in busyness.
Right.
But this idea of redeeming the time forces you to prioritize.
And sometimes that prioritizing means saying no.
To commitments, to distractions, even to things we enjoy.
Right.
If they're preventing us from doing the good that's being asked of us.
It's like decluttering our lives, but not just our closets.
Right.
Our schedules, our mental space.
Yeah.
Making room for what truly matters that's both daunting and exciting at the same time.
And that's where the whole "it's time to do good" message becomes so empowering.
Right.
It's not about guilt or burden. It's about opportunity.
Okay.
God is presenting us with chances to act big or small, but we have to be ready, willing, and tuned in.
Okay, so we're discerning the needs.
Yeah.
We're making time.
Right.
But what if we mess up? What if our intentions are good, but the outcome isn't?
Sure.
That fear holds me back sometimes.
That's where humility comes in.
Okay.
Recognizing that we're not perfect, we'll make mistakes.
Right.
But even those can be learning experiences.
Right.
The key is seeking God's guidance throughout,
Yeah.
not just assuming we know what's best.
So it's an ongoing conversation with God. Not just a one-time decision. We're constantly checking in, adjusting,
Right.
trying to align our actions with His will as best we can.
Exactly. And remember, doing good doesn't always require grand gestures.
Okay.
Sometimes the most profound impact comes from simple acts of kindness, a listening ear, a helping hand. Those small things can ripple outwards in ways we might never fully comprehend.
You know, this deep dive is shifting my perspective.
Yeah.
I was looking for some big answers.
Right.
But it's really about those daily choices, those moments where we choose to embody the good that this motto calls for.
And the more we do that, the more it becomes ingrained in who we are, and not just what we do. It's a transformation, a journey towards aligning our entire being with God's will.
This is way deeper than I anticipated. So we've talked about the internal work, the need to redeem time, and how to be aware of opportunities. But where does this all lead?
That's the exciting part, the potential impact of this motto being embraced by the entire new Apostolic Church. By individuals like you and me, it's immense.
It's like we're being equipped not just to do good, but to be good, to radiate that goodness outward into the world.
And that's where the real power of this motto, of this entire year's focus lies.
Yeah.
It's not about checking boxes or earning points.
Right.
It's about a fundamental shift in how we approach life, how we see ourselves in relation to God and to others.
I keep thinking about the logo, all those people studying the Bible.
Yeah.
It's like they're drawing strength, inspiration from that source, and then going out and living it.
Exactly. It's not just about absorbing knowledge.
Right.
It's about letting that knowledge transform us from the inside out.
Yeah.
And that transformation is what then fuels our actions.
Yeah.
Makes them authentic, impactful.
Okay, so we're internally aligned. We're recognizing opportunities.
Yeah.
We're even prepared to make mistakes and learn from them. But honestly, I still feel a bit overwhelmed. The world's problems are huge. How can any one person really make a difference?
That's where faith comes in, doesn't it? The belief that even small acts of goodness, when done with love and guided by God's will, can have a ripple effect far beyond what we can see.
That's comforting, but also a bit hard to grasp.
Okay.
I can hold the door open for someone.
Right.
But does that really solve anything on a global scale?
Maybe not directly.
Yeah.
But think about the impact on that person.
Right.
Maybe they were having a bad day.
Yeah.
And that small act of kindness shifted their perspective, gave them a moment of hope.
Okay.
And who knows what they might then do, how that ripple might spread outwards from there.
Okay, I see what you mean. It's like planting a seed.
Right.
We might not see the full-grown tree, but we trust that with the right conditions, with God's grace, it has the potential to grow.
Precisely. And the more seeds we plant, the more we cultivate that spirit of goodness within ourselves and inspire it in others, the greater the potential for positive change in the world.
This deep dive has been a real eye-opener.
Oh, good.
I started out thinking, it's time to do good, was a simple call to action, but it's so much more than that. It's a call to transformation, to intentional living, to embracing the interconnectedness of our spiritual and practical lives.
And it's a call to hope, because even in the face of immense challenges, we have the power, guided by God's grace, to be instruments of good in the world.
It's a beautiful and challenging message. So to our listener, as we wrap up this deep dive, we leave you with this question.
Okay.
The chief apostle urges us to redeem the time God gives us.
Right.
What does that mean to you? How will you answer that call to do good, not just today, but in every moment that unfolds?
Keep diving deep, keep asking those questions, and keep spreading that goodness. The world needs it now more than ever.